done, and I almost drove off forgetting to do a quick video. So in my last video, I think I mentioned that at any point the video might get cut off because I was expecting a call for a job interview, and so I mentioned that this channel, and I think I mentioned in one of my first videos, this channel I've created, although I don't expect it to go viral or become anywhere near popular, because no doubt there are many people creating new YouTube channels because they have so much free time now. I had mentioned that my intention was to make this channel something of a MGTOW channel, which that phrase, that term, raises a lot of ire. But of course, if you're red-pilled, you'll know why. If you're blue-pilled, you're part of the problem, I guess. That's kind of unfair. I shouldn't say the problem, because there was a time when I was so hardcore blue-pilled, it was just ridiculous. And if I knew in the past what I knew now about relationships, about the reality of a lot of things that we don't realize, I would very likely be in a better position in my life right now. Because just about every bad thing that's happened to me, every devastating thing that's happened to me, happened because I allowed myself to get played by some girl. Which leads me back to what I was saying before. The job interview that I was expecting the call for, it was a female manager, and she had called me last week, Thursday afternoon, after I had spoken with a gentleman, male manager, for a different interview, a different job entirely. He emailed me or called me briefly about setting up a time for a more lengthy interview. And that was the day, Thursday last week, he called me on time, maybe 2 minutes after the time we had scheduled. We spoke briefly and we set an interview for the following week. This female manager from a fitness industry called me, and it was right after the previous interview with the male manager. I wasn't expecting her call, but I did apply to their company, but it was almost a month ago. I didn't expect to hear back from them. And I spoke briefly with her, but unlike the male manager from the other job, her questions were more personal. They weren't geared towards getting to know me and how I can, I would say, benefit the employer. He asked me questions that would help him gauge whether or not I would be a good employee for his company. It made sense. She was asking more personal questions and making presumptuous statements. Whatever, doesn't matter. So we spoke for a while, and she said she was going to email me some information, and she was going to follow up a call with me perhaps next week. And she said that she had to leave, even though we had a good 20-30 minute talk. She had to leave because she had important conference calls, whatever, no big deal. That was Thursday last week. That evening, Thursday evening, she texted me apologizing for the missed call, saying that she was on conference calls for a while all evening and she didn't have a chance to give me a call. Whatever. Maybe she's very busy. Maybe she's got a lot on her mind. What I thought was odd, I forgot to mention in the interview, the very first on the interview, probably the only time I spoke to her really, she asked certain things. She mentioned certain things about what would be required for the job. So this is a fitness job, and it was going to be remote. So I would record myself, or I record myself live, or record myself after the fact and upload it onto some site for the members of this fitness company to watch. And I had mentioned to her that that's pretty much what I'm doing for my own fitness company. I go to a parking garage like the one I'm in now, and I do a workout, I record them, and I post them to my social media site. And then she asked me, well, what is your social media so I can look at it? And I thought that was a little awkward, but whatever, so I gave it to her. But yeah, like I said, that evening she texted me apologizing for not calling, which was odd because she did call. And she never mentioned she was going to call me later on that evening. She said she'll contact me next week. So I sent a message back being politically correct, and I was trying to be subtle. And I said, hey, it was great talking to you this afternoon at blah, blah, blah time. And I'm looking forward to receiving the email you said you would send me to, and I rewrote the email address for her. And, oh yes, she apologized for not calling me. And she also said that if I was available tomorrow, which would be Saturday, or Friday, she would be Friday, if I was available tomorrow at around 3, she would call me then. So as I was saying, I thanked her for the call that she did make with me on Thursday, and I told her if she needed to call me again on Friday at 3 o'clock, I will be available at that time. So on Friday, I did a quick workout. That was when I posted my last video, and like I said, I was expecting a call. No call came. So Saturday evening, she sent me a text message saying that she did call me, but the answering machine she got sounded weird. It didn't sound like me. And I told her the name of my company. When you call my phone, you'll get a voice message, just my voice, and I would say you've reached my company at such and such, leave a message. So it was a bit odd to me, considering that my social media name and my company name are the same as the name that's on my answering machine. So maybe she dialed the wrong number, whatever. But she's managing to text me at the right number, so I don't know why she's not calling me at that number. Or, hey, maybe something went wrong. Maybe some wires got crossed. Whatever, no problem. So on that message she sent me on Thursday, Saturday, that text message, she had asked me if I would be available later on that evening. But it was already the evening, and I already kind of had plans made up. I was trying to do some chores, wash some clothes, which, you know, in my building, it's a 35-unit building with only one washer and dryer. So and everybody's quarantined at home, so it's sort of like a first come, first serve if getting these things done, whatever. So she said, can I call you this evening? And if not, no worries. I have a class tomorrow morning, and after 11:30, I'll be free all day to call you. So I told her, I said, hey, after your class tomorrow, once you get settled in, by all means, give me a call. I'll be available all day. So Sunday came and went. I received no call from her. And then later on Monday, because it's Tuesday, Monday in the afternoon, she sent me a text message with a link, a Calendly link, saying, please click this link and set up a time for us to have a 15-minute phone interview. Okay. So I clicked the link, and as I was setting up the interview on this Calendly website, she sent me another text message saying something about how, due to corporate, she won't be available after 6 or something. But by then I had already scheduled for today at 2 o'clock. So I sent a message back. I said, hey, I understand, but I had already scheduled tomorrow at 2. Let me know if that works or not. And she responded, 2 o'clock works great. Thank you so much. I received an email confirmation from her. I received a text message confirmation from her. And today I had some more chores I needed to do because I'm an INTJ, I'm OCD. I clean a lot. And I was studying for my option trader certification thing, so I'm doing that on the side as well. So I made sure I got everything done, and I hit the road and came here to work out with the expectation of being able to talk to her on the phone here just before I work out. No calls. So here's my point, and this is not misogynistic what I'm saying. It's a MGTOW observation. It's anecdotal, I agree, and it's gonna piss people off, but so be it. I've been in the fitness industry for almost 5 years now, and before that I was in sort of a paramilitary occupation. And what I've noticed in my time in the fitness industry is that whenever I had a female manager, it was such a difficult job. There was so much micromanaging, there was so much issues. There were so many issues that, and I know it's somewhat of an unfair assessment because I've had more female managers in the fitness industry than I've had male managers. But of all the male managers I've had, only one was obnoxious, and he was actually disliked by pretty much everyone in the gym. He didn't look like a trainer. He acted more like a used car salesman. Just bear with me a quick example. This is a 24-hour fitness, and I used to work there almost 5 years ago, or 4 years ago, whatever. I had a woman who was thinking of purchasing a personal training package, and she admitted to me that she had, forgive me, I pronounced this incorrectly, spondylolisthesis or something to that effect, slip disc. Bottom line, she had some serious lumbar issues. I'm not a physical therapist, but based on what she was telling me, I knew that despite all of my experience, despite all of my skills, what this woman needed wasn't a personal trainer. She needed a really good physical therapist. Not just your run-of-the-mill physical therapist, a really good one. And this male manager, was at the desk next door to me, and he overheard the conversation. I guess he knew that I was going to let her go without her purchasing the package, and he interjected rather unprofessionally, convinced her to purchase a package. And here's the catch-22 or the double-edged sword here. I was struggling financially, seriously. And her purchasing that package, it allowed me to have money based on the commission I got to get some food, some groceries, because I was going to bed hungry more nights than not. But sure enough, after a few weeks of training her, she contacted me saying that she messed up her back. I don't know if it was because of my training. I don't think so, because she was gone for a couple days and she told me she messed up her back and she couldn't train anymore. But I'm more than certain that the training I was doing with her wasn't helping her situation. Like I said, she needed a professional physical therapist. I'm talking somebody with many years of experience. And judging from what she was telling me, she would probably need about a year of physical therapy, maybe at the very least 6 months, before she was ready to go to regular personal training. But whatever, so he did that, and that was probably the worst thing he did, but that was the only bad male manager I had. The female managers I've had, on the other hand, I used to work at Equinox, and I had this very attractive Brazilian female manager that I swear she must have been on cocaine or something. She just had these bipolar emotional outbursts, and some of the other employees mentioned that she was like that. So for this job, actually a lot of the big box gyms do this. They make you go through this obnoxious script that you have to memorize to sell training to a potential client. And I went through this script, and it was more in-depth than any other gym I've been in. And there's a whole lot of things involved, a very lengthy assessment, which is good. So I had to practice this with her. She scheduled the day for us to practice. I got there on time. One of her other trainers screwed up and ended up taking the space that I had scheduled. It's a long story, but suffice it to say, I had to adjust what I was doing because of one of her trainers. It was no fault of mine, it was the fault of someone else. And she even acknowledged that at the end of this scripted session that I did with her. She said I did a very good job. She pointed out a couple things that I did wrong, and that was it. A couple days later, I get a message from her saying that I need to reschedule the script with her because I did a terrible job. She doesn't understand how I could have done such a bad job, and she recommended I practice with some of the other trainers before I do the script with her. A whole lot of drama, just a whole lot of drama at that gym. And I come to find out that maybe a few months before I got hired at the gym, a black male who is bald, muscular, and had some issues with the managers there. He got fired or something like that, and he came back with a gun. He came back with a device by which he used to unalive some people, and then he ended up unaliving himself. So I don't know. Later on, I heard rumors from people who used to work there that this manager had some sort of relationship with this guy. And while I was there, I noticed she had sort of an unprofessional behaviorism, or the way she would act with other guys. And this is so Miami right here. So obnoxious, man. And I take it this guy's not gonna be leaving anytime soon. So after I left there, I went to another gym where it was a female owner and a female manager. The female owner purchased this small gym, having never in her life worked in or around fitness at all. She knew nothing about training. She knew nothing about sales. She knew nothing about anything that you would need to know regarding owning a gym. That's one problem. The female manager that I was working for was like maybe 22, 23 years old. She had some thickness, some muscularity to her, but I can tell she juiced. And I asked her if she takes any juice, and she admitted that she does. And what vexed me was, in the year that I was working there, I noticed that she would copy many of the workouts that I would do with my clients. She would copy my workout program. She would copy a lot of things that I would do, and sometimes we'll have some ideas, we'll brainstorm ideas of how we can increase sales, increase client retention, and when I would pitch an idea, she would take it, run with it, and act like it was her idea all along. Beyond that, what she would do was she would say things to sort of undermine or belittle me in front of other clients. She suffered from such a massive amount of insecurity that she would do things to make me look bad, to make herself look good. Does that make sense? I just could not stand working for her. And she would do petty little things to try and undermine me or screw me over. Like, for example, let's say, for example, a client says, hey, I want to train at 7 in the morning. Do you have another trainer available to train at 7 in the morning? And she'll say, oh, sure, I have this guy. And she'll schedule me to train at 7 in the morning with this client, but not bother to let me know. And the program that they used wouldn't give me any kind of updates about schedule changes. So that would screw me over. And if the client didn't contact me to say, hey, just verifying that we got training tomorrow at 7, I would never have known, and it would have made me look bad. The point I'm making is that in every gym I've worked, whether it's alongside a female trainer or it was under a female manager, there was always these kind of issues. And the best manager I've ever had, I was interning at a place that's sort of a gym / clinic / fancy restaurant, whatever. It was a very luxurious place where people who go to train there or be there are spending on average $7,000 to $10,000 a week. And yeah, I was making good money there, even though I was only an intern getting paid minimum wage, because I would have clients want to hire me to train them. And despite getting an hourly minimum wage, as a trainer, I got paid like everyone else got paid. And I was doing so well at this place as an intern that I actually got Employee of the Month, which irked a lot of the other trainers. Guess which genders they all were, the ones who were really pissed off. So the head manager of that place was a guy. Super smart, super sharp, always on top of his game, always had great ideas, always had a great attitude. Absolutely loved working for this guy. It's hard to describe, but anytime I'd bring a problem to him, he knew how to resolve it. He never let situations get to him emotionally. And I can see sometimes he was vexed, I can see sometimes he was bothered, but he always managed to perform professionally. In contrast, the assistant manager under him was a female. Would easily get flustered, easily get annoyed, and I would have to sort of, as if I was walking on eggshells when dealing with her. Her best friend, which was also an employee under her, was another girl that would constantly try to undermine me. And I'm not going to go through all the ways that she would do it, but I'm wondering, and here's why I'm making. I want some comments from some of you guys out there. Have you worked in a field where, or numerous fields or numerous areas where you felt like dealing with a female employee, coworker, or a female manager was more stressful than the male manager? And I know that's not a fair comparison. I know I'm going to get some serious hate for this, but I mean, come on, like this interview example I'm telling you here. If you called someone out of the blue to talk to them about a possible job, about a job interview, and you scheduled to call them on a follow-up job interview on the phone, not once, not twice, but 3 times, and fail each time to call back that person and never give an excuse as to why, that's just a huge red flag for me. I'm almost to the, no, I'm not almost. I am at the point where I feel like texting her and saying, listen, as much as I can use the income, you've failed to contact me on 3 separate occasions when we scheduled a time to speak. And none of those 3 times have you ever explained why. And, you know, I had a conversation with a female client of mine before this lockdown occurred. And I trained her on occasion. Very sharp, very attractive girl. I mean, she plays for the team, but that's irrelevant. Sometimes I would text her, like a question, or, you know, I'll be like, hey, just following up to see how you felt after yesterday's training. Are you sore? Confirming our training next, well, I don't have to confirm because I actually use an app that my clients can schedule and confirm themselves without me having to be involved. And the app will send a confirmation to me and send a confirmation to my clients. So that's great. But sometimes I'll follow up with her about something, or I'll ask her a question not relevant to fitness. And it would be like days before she responds to me. And at first I thought she did this as sort of like a hard to get thing, because before she became my client, I asked her if she wanted to do a complimentary training session together. And I didn't know if she was thinking I was flirting with her and she was doing that sort of hard to get thing. But then I found out that she plays for the other team, and that's obviously not a relevant issue. But she apologized a few times to me about sometimes taking days, if not a week or 2, to respond to me, saying that she's busy. And I told her one day, I said, look, I'm sorry, but I don't accept that excuse. I don't accept that excuse. It takes literally 30 seconds to send someone a text to explain something. That's it. And like I said, I worked in a paramilitary, you know what, screw it. I used to be a cop. And there were days where I would have like a serious car accident call, 3 or 4 car accidents. The worst ones are the ones that would involve, let's say, a school bus with 30 passengers running into a car sideways, and then there's a death involved or a serious injury. Bottom line is, a call like that, especially back when we used to do all our reports on paper, we didn't have the computer, a call like that can easily take the entire shift. And I would have to get the names of every single passenger of all the vehicles, including the people on the bus. I would have to find witnesses, get their information. If someone was seriously injured and transported to the hospital, I had to go to the hospital. Look, there were times where I was absolutely busy, so much to the point where I felt like I was gonna piss my pants, because using the bathroom was something I just didn't have the time to do. So unless someone is working that kind of job, and that kind of job can force them to end up working 16, 18-hour shifts, I don't accept the excuse that you don't have time to text them. I just don't. So if you make an appointment to do something with someone, or you fail to hold up your end of the bargain of something, the least you can do is explain yourself. And if you don't do that and then you say that you're too busy to do that, I just don't accept that excuse. So I don't know. I'm sorry, guys. I just wanted to vent here and talk about the situation. I'm sure I might get some hate in the comments, but again, I know this is more than likely anecdotal. I'm sure there's some great managers out there, male and female, and co-workers. This has just been my experience. So maybe I'm just an outlier. So give me a comment, a shout out, and let me know what you guys think. All right. I hope you guys are staying safe. I'll talk to you soon.